Welcome to the Heartification podcast, where I interview people on how art has affected their lives and what it means to them. Art has a very special place in my life. It not only makes me feel happy, but it allows me to make others feel special. This podcast is all about how art has made an impact on others' lives, for all ages, all backgrounds, and all walks of life. You can find more about this podcast guest in my show notes. Without further ado, let's welcome my next guest. She is an entrepreneur, social media expert, and the owner of Jaxx Productions. Please welcome my next guest, Marley Jaxx.
Well, hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being on my show.
Cool.
So the first question I always ask is, how do you define art?
How do I define art? I think that art looks different for everybody, but for everybody, I believe it's an expression of the deepest, most meaningful part of their being, their soul, who they are, a well-rounded expression of their existence and of their experiences on earth.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's their inner self letting themselves out. Like, my definition is art is any form that you're able to express yourself and, just express your feelings, just show your feelings. And art can be a creative outlet, if you can't say what you're feeling, you can just paint or sing and make a song, and any art form. And I think everybody has an art form.
Absolutely. What's yours?
So for me, mine is painting. I've been painting since I was really little, and then my parents put me in art classes, and then that's kind of where my talent developed.
I see some paintings behind you. Did you paint those ones?
Yeah, those ones are mine.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. And so what art forms are you exposed to?
My favorite is words. So I love to write poetry, and that's something that has really come alive, especially in the past several months. So I also love to read other people's words and to be able to feel someone else's experience through words and to sometimes resonate with it in a way that, like, maybe you had the same experience but couldn't put it into those words. So you just, when you read someone else's experience, you feel understood. Or sometimes you discover things about yourself that you didn't know by being able to understand someone else's experience. So I would say words are my favorite, as well as I think movies are also an art form, because that expression of acting and movement and showing that emotion or portraying a storyline is also a really beautiful art form. Music, gosh, where would we all be without music? I have it running in my head all the time, or playing on Spotify in the background, and so many different genres. Gosh, there's so many different kinds of expression. I guess they all come back to words, though, either written or sung or spoken to share a story. That's my favorite.
Yeah, definitely. That's amazing. And how do you use art in your business?
That's such a cool question, because I don't think that entrepreneurs or business owners always think of it as art, but really it is. For you to take your experience, something that you're passionate about, and teach it or share it or create it and sell it, that is art. My business, I feel like one of the biggest things that I do is I share stories. I teach stories, and I teach even marketing concepts through stories. And I think that my art in business is for people to also bring their passions to life and also find empathy in themselves, in their own journey, and then also for their audience who they're marketing to. So that starts with me being able to be a good storyteller, and even in being a good teacher. Like, if you think of your favorite teachers in school or anywhere that you learn from, your favorite ones are probably the ones that tell the best stories. They're not the ones at the front of the class going, bah, 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 bah. Like, they're the ones that they tell you funny stories, or they always have a really good example, a moral to the story. So that's how I share mine in business too. I love that question.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. And how do you use art to help other people grow their businesses?
The most important thing that I can do as a business owner is for my audience to feel safe and feel like they can trust me. And if they don't trust me, then they're not going to listen to me and they're not going to buy from me. And I believe, and I have this saying, that the transformation's in the transaction. And when people buy from you, your business, or you as an entrepreneur, you as a business owner, they're buying financially and emotionally. So for me to get them to buy in emotionally, which they have to do before they're willing to buy in financially, because if you were scared or if you were skeptical and thinking like, this isn't a good use of my money, you would never buy it. But if you look at something and you're excited about it, or you are eager, or you trust it, you're like, I need this, that level of emotion is what's going to make someone emotionally buy in to say, this is something I can trust. This is something that's going to give me a result. And then they're willing to have that financial transaction. So I have to tell them stories and share with them who I am in a way that they can resonate with, in a way that they qualify themselves saying, yes, me too, or I've been there before, or I want that kind of lifestyle or happiness or result or whatever the promise is.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that even in business and just in life, it's important to have those connections. I mean, humans need that social interaction. Even like during COVID, I mean, everybody was at home, but humans need that social interaction between other humans. And I think it's important, when you're working with clients, to connect with them.
Absolutely. So that's the most important thing, because you wouldn't buy from someone or want to learn from someone if you didn't have that connection, because then what's the point?
Yeah. And how do you use your creativity to rise above the competition?
Everyone's creativity is their secret sauce. Like if you ask someone what makes you stand apart from the rest, it has to come to your creativity. And I think the challenge for entrepreneurs is that we see everyone else's creativity, and it's important to still find your own. And you can be inspired by other people, but not to try to copy it. You can take pieces from it. You can take what you learn from it. So my creativity, it's also in having that self-awareness of who I am and what I love and what creativity fuels me. And if I'm authentic to that, that is what makes me stand out from anybody else and makes me rise above the competitors.
Yeah, definitely. Just being yourself. If everybody did the same thing one way, all the businesses would just be the same. There wouldn't be different ideas, different ways of doing one thing. And I think it's amazing that if you look at like one group of businesses, it's so amazing to see how different people do different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
You started designing websites while involved in the dental area. So did art affect your creative ability to design websites that your clients would like?
Yeah, that's so cool that you knew that about me, because that was such a long time ago. That was like 4 years ago. I started designing websites, and I wanted to do things that were different than what any other website looked like. And I wanted to have my own spin on creativity and color and fonts. And I had this, for me, I felt like it was intuitive for my taste in design. And I thought that made me very special, that like, no, I couldn't teach this to anybody else. And I was the only person that could do this, which I don't believe is true. I do believe that you can, like I said, kind of show that inspiration and hope to inspire other people and let them take that creativity and run with it. So I used to design websites, and what I would look for in the client, that I'm not sure if every web designer does this, but I look for their unique personality and their flavor or their brand or whatever, that their website can really showcase them. Like if you came to my website and it was very dark and dreary and boring, that wouldn't be a reflection of me. So I look for what colors and fonts and images and stuff are an accurate reflection of the business or the brand or the person.
Yeah, definitely. And even back to the different businesses, all the different websites will hopefully reflect, the business owner.
Yeah.
And even in paintings, when you think about it, the painting reflects, what the artist was feeling or what the artist was going through, or their personality. Like when I paint, I like to paint, bright colors. I don't really like to paint, with like dark colors like black, gray, and white. I like to paint with like, pinks, light greens, yellows. So I think that reflects my personality a lot.
Yeah, I could imagine that for you too. I couldn't imagine you painting with dark colors. I definitely see color with you.
Yeah, it's awesome. And art can be therapeutic and it can help people through some difficult times in their lives. So has art ever helped you in a difficult situation? And if so, how? And can you give an example?
Definitely. When I'm going through a tough time or a sad emotion, I am the kind of person that I listen to the same song on repeat over and over and over if those lyrics can really resonate with what I'm going through. And so sometimes I'll have playlists for whatever mood I'm in. And I can also have playlists for what mood I want to be in. And that helped me that encourage the state change. So if I am in a sad mood or tired or feeling hopeless or uninspired, I can go to that playlist and let that music kind of enter my body and change my state. I also, like I mentioned, I love words. I love reading poetry. I love writing poetry. And especially in the last few months, writing poetry has helped me to really process some of my thoughts or my emotions. And I think that's so important instead of just, I think that's the best way to acknowledge your emotions is to really go deep and feel them. Like there's the surface level, you might think, I'm mad. But I also think that anger is a piece of a different emotion, whether that's sadness or disappointment or anything else. So for you to be able to process, whether that's through reading, writing, listening to music, singing, that's it helps me to understand myself and be able to process more and go deeper into what does this mean and what can I do about it?
Yeah, definitely. That's amazing. And everyone will have a different creative outlet that they'll go to when they're feeling down. Like for you, it's music. For me, it's painting. For everybody else, it's going to be different based on, their experiences and what they're attracted to.
Yeah.
And are you attracted to any particular artist?
I have tons of my favorite artists in different genres. Like I have some of my favorite singers. I have some of my favorite poets. Like one of my favorite poets, a very classic Pablo Neruda. Another one of my favorite poets is Andrea Gibson. And they're like my go-to for when I want to read something that's going to help me process or feel the emotions. And then also my go-to when I want to be inspired to write myself.
Yeah, that's amazing. And are you attracted to any particular art form?
Art form, I would say, it's a toss up between poetry and music, but at the same time, poetry really is music just to a rhythm. So I guess because of that, I would say poetry then.
Yeah, it's amazing. And so my Heartification project is all about giving back to the community, specifically to those with disabilities and illnesses. So how do you give back to the community?
I think in a few ways. Like there's always ways that you can give back financially, and I have an amount of money for my business that we support charities, and some of my favorite are Operation Underground Railroad, Village Impact, and Dreaming Zebra Foundation. Dreaming Zebra is actually one that I think really aligns with what you're talking about today. It's about sponsoring kids with art supplies. And so it was really cute. I got a card in the mail recently that was like colored and hand drawn by a child saying, thank you for the colors. And it was very sweet. But I also think another way that I give back is through my free content that I post online on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram, that in my opinion and my intention is for it to be inspiring or educational so that someone can take that information, and whether it inspires them to heal or express themselves or grow their business, that's my goal.
Yeah, definitely. That's amazing. And even, just giving back to the community, it just, makes you smile. Like even with the card with the little kid that colored. I mean, that must have felt so good.
Yeah. Oh, I have it on my fridge now. It's so sweet.
It's amazing. Like even when I was at my pop-up event, just watching all the people with disabilities and illnesses, painting and expressing themselves and feeling happy just made me feel, just so awesome.
Mm-hmm. So cool.
Yeah. And how would you like people to get in touch with you?
Oh, well, as I just mentioned, my YouTube channel or Instagram is where I'm the most active. Instagram is always fun because I respond to all my direct messages there, and I try to be funny on my Instagram stories. So come over there and laugh with me, and you can look up Marley Jaxx.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Remember, if you want to find out more about this guest, please go to my show notes where I have all the links needed. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe to my podcast series and help me by sharing it, leaving a rating, and a comment. I hope you join me on my next podcast. Bye for now.